Hey everybody, this is Al Jackson here, and I am absolutely honored to be able to come and to share with you all today on this eighth edition. Wow, eighth edition. This is the eighth time that we've come together and we've talked during the Tim Talks, and I'm excited today. This is just an exceptional day for me because over the past eight times that we've had a conversation, and we want to make sure that everybody that's on, we want to make sure that you say, hey, listen, Pastor Jackson, we want to we want to share this video, we want to comment. Make sure I want everybody to make sure to comment today, because this is a unique day. Because every other Tim Talk, we've been able to talk with the Pauls in ministry. Tim Talks is an opportunity for me, and as a Timothy in the gospel, meaning that we're trying to grow, and we're young in our tenure. We have the opportunity to speak to those that are seasoned, that have had successes, that have had years of experience, and are constantly innovative and transparent and just motivating. And that's what Tim means. That, for those who don't know, Tim means transformative, innovative, and motivational. And so that's exactly the person and guest that I have today. This is a special Tim Talk because usually, like I said, we usually talk to Paul's, but today we're talking to Timothy's. We're talking to a unique Timothy at that, and he is absolutely one of my closest best friends in the entire world. And I want everybody to holler at me, and I want everybody to say hello to Pastor Marcus R. McCoy Jr. Hey, sir.
God bless you, Pastor Jackson.
How are you, brother?
Doing well, my friend. Happy to be here with you in this eighth edition.
Why you got to sound all formal, man? It's just us, man.
Oh, it's us.
You got to call me Pastor Jackson and everything, man. What's up with that?
Oh, I could call you other things, but I'll stay with Pastor Jackson.
Oh man, how you been, dude? How are you handling, man, the pandemic and all this unrest and all the stuff going on, man? How you been handling that?
Before we go there, I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity to be on, and we say welcome and thank you for joining to everyone who is on the feed on today. Doing well. Today is a good day as we are just trying to juggle it all. I think that's the season of where we're in, the season of the juggle, and the season of the stretch. So God has been faithful and has given us the grace in this season to be able to sustain. We have not buckled under the pressure, and we're still above water. So we're grateful for that.
Great, man. Great, man. So I'm glad that you actually answered my question. So listen, I want to
is that what this
I want to what's that?
Nothing, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. It's usually nothing. But listen, I want to apologize to you, okay? I want to apologize to you because I've been slightly deceptive. So I asked my brother to be on today to talk about being a young pastor and those kinds of things. But really, that really isn't why I wanted him to be on today. I wanted him to be on because this is a pandemic, and because of the social distancing, and my wife and I, we are making sure that we haven't seen our family the way that we usually do, and for a long time. And usually by now Marcus would have been here in Miami like 3 or 4 times, because my girls love him, and he's Angelina's godfather, and Allison is learning to like him. And so but today is actually my brother's birthday.
Oh,
happy birthday, brother.
Oh,
happy birthday, man.
Thank you.
And so I wanted to have him on today so that we can wish him a happy birthday through the worldwide web, because we cannot see him and we can't get to him the way that we would during this time. But I can have everybody that's watching us to say, hey, happy birthday, Elder McCoy.
Wow.
Happy birthday, Pastor McCoy. Happy birthday, Marcus. And so everybody, if you just comment, happy birthday, man, I absolutely appreciate it, because this is my brother. This is my brother. And I sincerely love him and care about him, and thank God for the friendship that God has allowed us to build over the years, man. And so being his friend has not been easy, but yet it has been mostly rewarding. And I am absolutely pleased to have him on. All right. So with that in mind, brother, this is the real conversation that I want us to have today.
Okay.
And so that is, well, before we get into that conversation, how does it feel to be another year older?
Brother, thank you so much. I figured something was going on.
Why can't you just answer a question, man? I just said, man, I simply asked you a question. Yeah. And you always got to give your greetings.
You should know you don't dictate when I respond and how I respond. You should know that by now, even if it is your show. All right. Like I was saying, thank you so much for this birthday surprise. Look, I kind of figured something was going on in as much as you called me and didn't say happy birthday. And then told me to get on the live. I said, oh, something's going on. But I am so appreciative. So appreciative. I love you. So I'm feeling good. Today is chapter number 33.
33, that's when Jesus died.
Yes, this is the year of the year of the crucifixion. And so grateful for family and friends and for faith that has been consistent through these 33 years. And we are going almost on 20 years, almost close to 20 years. It's almost 20 years, 15, 18, around those, of friendship and being in each other's lives. So just grateful for life and for liberty in Christ. Just really grateful.
Great, man. And I'm grateful for that as well. So the conversation today is for primarily directly to clergy, young clergy, but indirectly to everybody.
Okay.
Of a topic that's dear to me, and that is the necessity of good friendship. The necessity of good friendship, especially when it comes down to being leaders in ministry. How important is it to have good friends and close friends? I'm not talking about just associates and we're people that or that their names or whatever, but real friendship. How important is that, man?
It's extremely important, brother. And I am so very blessed. And I'm often will lift up the fact that I have a best friend in the person of Alfonso Jerome Jackson Jr.
Oh, say that one more time, because I don't think people heard that. What was that?
I said I have a best friend in the person of Jesus the Christ, who sticks with of Alfonso Jerome Jackson Jr. And friendships are so very important. And
you're so rude. You're rude.
Yeah, yes. And we saw the necessity of friendships. I think, especially in this last season, there was so much suicide as it pertains to people in ministry, especially pastors. It was like every other month you were hearing a pastor commit suicide because he just felt, the weight of the world on his shoulder. And I think that's partly because those pastors, I have no empirical evidence to substantiate this, but through thought and conversation, that I believe most of those pastors may not have had an outlet, a true outlet to be themselves, to have conversation. And I know when we became friends, those many years ago in college, when we began to get in ministry, I think one of the first things that we said was, well, I know I said was that when I come down to Miami, I don't want to preach. I don't want to have to be obligated to any type of ministerial role because you are my friend. Outside of ministry, I have a friend to talk to about anything. And we have talked about all of the things that you go through on a daily basis. And and I'm so glad that I can be there to support, you and some others who, have to juggle a whole lot.
Oh man, this is your birthday. I'm gonna let you have as much as you can get away with. So
Really?
yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So because nowadays you got just as much as you lose as I do. So
Oh God.
I'll let you know that.
Oh God.
So so here's the question, because you said something that was very key, that
Normally do.
The matter of us being able to have our friendship and brotherhood without and both being ministry without the pressure of having to preach each other or to fulfill some kind of ministerial obligations. Not to say that we have not, but yet that's not the center of our friendship. And so for many people, they feel as if I don't preach for you, then we must not be friends. Or if you don't put me on this flyer, or you don't put me on this initiative or this conference, then we must not be as close as you say we are, or you must not appreciate or enjoy my ministerial gift or whatever. And I think that we've proved that that's not necessarily true, that's not the case. Absolutely. And so and again, you just talked about the importance of having that kind of right mindset, that this is a friendship not based on how much you can gain, but in many cases how much you can give.
Yeah, a spot on, bro. So again, when I take friendships very important, I think that's if you look at my 5 core values, friends would be one of those values, because I see it as a growth within myself. I'm come from a very close-knit family, the real McCoys. We eat together, we live together, we travel together, we vacation together. And so for most of my life, my family, in my immediate family, was my friends. And it wasn't until I got to college that I was able to really establish true friendships. And I'm so very thankful that I was able to have enough self-worth and self-growth to be able to establish connections outside of my family. And so again, to the point of how the origin of our friendship was started, it was not started based on what I can gain from you from a ministerial standpoint. It was just true brotherhood, and a common bond around how we were raised in the church. And there's a lot of church hurt. We want to lift that up. Church hurt is real, and especially for those that are in ministry, young people that are in ministry, who parents have been in ministry. I'm 5th generation member of the Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ, and I'm a 3rd generation preacher. So there's a lot of trauma that is associated with having legacy within the church, and sometimes you can't create real friendships because of how this started, the intents and motives behind people. But I'm so very blessed that we have had a real true friendship down through the years that's been sustainable. And I know something that we often do, I often do, because I'm an over communicator. Jackson is not so much an over communicator. Well, we're just going to be positive today. So so one of the things that we do is do an assessment. I think you must do an assessment on your friendships. How are we growing together? Do we need to have a conversation about how, our core values are not aligning anymore? And I think with consistency and with true check-ins and honesty, you're able to establish true friendships that are sustainable for a lifetime.
That's great, man. And I think that's one of the reasons, what you mentioned earlier, one of the reasons why we were able to form this close brotherhood and friendship, because our backgrounds were similar, and so we understood the struggles of being in ministry, coming from a family of ministry. The McCoys are a strong church family, just as the Jacksons are as well, on this end. And so we understood that, and I was a little more in touch with reality than you were, but we understood the realities.
Whose reality? That's the question.
We understood the realities that that everything in church didn't feel good, or that we didn't, that everything, just because we were the pastor's kid, does not mean that everything was the way that we wanted to be.
Absolutely.
And so we were there for each other, man. So for those that, because I always get asked the question, how in the world did you and Marcus become friends? Because they say, well, because Al, man, you're so cool and calm and laid back, and like really like stylish, and just really somebody that everybody loves to be around.
Yeah, sure.
Marcus, and then Marcus, excuse me, I'm asking the question. Marcus is more so boisterous, loud, proper, and disconnected from just authentic relationships. And so how does, so the question then becomes, how do we become friends? And it happened back in Cookman, as we both attended Bethune-Cookman University, and did it start off as a friendship initially?
No, I don't think you can say it started as a friendship. It started as an inquiry as to who you were, because I'm saved. I don't know about, and if anybody make it, surely I will.
Okay.
I'm saved, and everyone in college doesn't live a saved life,
Mm. But McCoy, you
got. So we go back. I think it was, and you jump in if I have anything. I think let's see. I graduated from high school 2005. No, yeah, 2005. So we're talking about 2006, maybe, because you're a year behind me. So if I'm 33 today, you're 32, and we'll be 33 in November.
Ever answer a question?
November the 3rd, exactly.
Like you're doing the most. Just answer the question, man.
We're on television or this thing. You just don't answer a question. Have you never been on a set of a studio?
Yes, I actually have. Thanks to you. Yeah.
What's the question?
The question is, did we start off as friends?
Question asked and answered. What else?
No, we did not. Actually, you didn't like me. I was, I remember that you were not, I was an adjutant to you, because you typically would have your way with verbal jousting with people, and they couldn't keep up because you would just, use all kind of words that make them confused and
I don't like you're characterizing me.
and you could be absolutely wrong, and you would know it, but if they couldn't prove it, then you still won.
Then I'm not wrong.
Right. Thus, that's when Al Jackson came in, stage right, and then shut that down, and that irritated you. Because
No, that's not how it started, bro. You remember I came into the chorale room. So we were members of what is now called the concert. No, what was then called the concert chorale. No, I think it's still the concert chorale under the direction of the one and only, the late Dr. Rebecca Walker Steele. Amen. And we give honor to her memory. And so I was a sophomore. Jackson was a freshman, and we don't do any hazing, no hazing. So I don't want any people to think that the chorale hazes in any way. But there was assigned seats, and I
there was not assigned seats at all.
Second tenor baritone. I sat in a particular seat, and when I came in, and I'm a punctual person, when I came into the room, he was sitting there in these baggy clothes. If I can remember, it was almost like FUBU. Maybe it was FUBU, for us, by us, clothes, just very baggy clothes. And I was saying, well, who is security? Who is this sitting in my chair? And I just asked him, please, sir, would you please move from my seat? And he gave me attitude, Now you come in and you just sit down. You don't know the layout. That is part of the core if you've ever dealt with him intimately. He's rude. And so he proceeded to sit there until I had to forcibly move him. And
you had to do what? You had to do what?
Are you not understanding the words that are coming out of my mouth?
No, I don't understand. I don't understand where you got these words from, because that is not what happened.
You moved. The point is you moved. That's not right.
I was sitting in the seat that I was given. They told me to sit down in the seat with which
told you?
All of my class.
Who told you?
The upperclassmen did.
I'm upperclassman. I didn't tell you.
Well, that's because you were late. Thus, you came into the room and looked at me and says, "Who is this in my seat? Who is this?" Sir, then tapped me aggressively on my shoulder and said, "Sir, you have to move. You have to move. You got to move." And
do you have any video evidence of this?
I felt like turning around and hit you because I'm from Miami, and we don't get tapped on the shoulder and told to move like that.
You're from Miami, yes.
Right, and so
305. Oh my.
That's right. And so you was about to get the business, but I was instructed.
I can't breathe.
By a superior to move towards the bass section, which I was supposed to be in anyway. And so
Jamila talking about sounds just like don't do that. Don't do that, sis. Don't do that, sis.
That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said. And so from then, long story short, from then we developed a friendship because I was not intimidated by Marcus as most people were for some strange reason. Marcus knew that he could not just do whatever he wanted.
Jackson's been comical, somewhat. Very mendastic in his approach, but we know that's his tradition. He lies. So I want to say that what really got us friends, and this is part of the conversation, was truth. We one night all got together. It was a multitude of us, if you would, that got together at Brittany's home. Brittany Hamilton. She's something else now.
Yes, yes. Adams, Brittany Adams.
Are we using names?
I mean, you called her name.
Okay, well, we won't use names because we don't know if people can sue us. So we were at a friend's house, and it was a lot of us. And that night, the church boys just came out of us, and the people started sharing their personal stories of how they were wrestling with certain things. And it was just a night of ministry, a night that was supposed to be just pure fun, hanging out, turned into a therapy session, kind of led by Jackson and I, if you would. And and that's how we really began to develop a real close friendship, based off a real night of ministry.
That's true. That is the most honest thing you said all day.
Oh.
And it was from there that I said this is a brother that I can stand in the trenches with, and has been so. And so, as we mentioned before, in ministry, it is such an important, essential relationship to have a brother, or for a female clergy, or a sister, a friend in which you can confide in, one that you can stand with, that can stand with you, and be able to have a friendship that stands the test of time. I believe that we've been doing that thus far, and we've had a lot of people to drop off, a lot of friends and brothers and sisters to drop away,
yes,
lose contact, but we have kept our brotherhood alive, man, and I appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
I really do.
Likewise,
I really do. And so, with that being said, you are a young pastor, and finally accepted your pastorate ministry, and you're coming up to is it a year yet?
Yeah, it will be a year in August, officially in August.
A year. Okay. So it'll be a year in August. How is this first year of officially being the pastor? And especially, half of that time has been inside of a pandemic. How has that been for you, pastoring a little under a year?
Yeah, thanks for the question. It's been very interesting. I must say I'm blessed. I inherited an established ministry, and so a ministry that I grew up in. My father retired after the age of 55, and so it was a 5-year succession plan, that he would retire, and that I would eventually assume the role as senior pastor. And so I'm very blessed to be able to have Paul with me. And that's one of the reasons I'm able to do as much as I'm able to do in this season, is because I have a sure foundation and I have a lot of help. And so the church has been nothing but welcoming to my particular style of leadership and instruction. And I must say, in talking with other individuals who have assumed the role of a pastorate, especially a young guy in ministry, my story is nothing but a blessing. I've heard horror stories of men in their first year, but my first year has been nothing but a blessing. I cannot say anything negative. No, every day has not been easy, and some days are better than others. But from a consistency standpoint, I have a great group of people that God has given me charge to lead in this season, who are very open to change, and when they're not, they're spirit led. And so what I can't do, God does. And again, to have Paul, my father, still with me, not as trying to be the pastor or work through me, but providing guidance and insight outside of the pulpit. And so it's not like he's even doing it from coming to church. He does it through relationship outside of the four walls. And so I'm very grateful. Now, during with this pandemic, I am, like I said in the beginning, still trying to juggle that. I minister to an older congregation. So a lot of the things that I could do, I don't do because it wouldn't fit my context. And I think it's very important that if you're going to minister, that you not be led astray by what others are doing, but you stay consistent to what God has called you to do, because that's where your effectiveness and your accountability is going to lie. And so, yeah, we've been doing our best to stay relevant as much as possible. Again, it hasn't been easy. And actually, I had one of my members call today, basically saying, "Pastor, when are we going back?" And so, and so that's on one phone call. Then I got other people talking to my pastor, "I'm not coming back until September." So it's had its challenges, but God's been faithful.
Great. Now you did this piece. I remember you did a study on pastoral church succession, and basically coming up with the formula or trying to identify a successful model of succession within the church. And now you succeeded your father in ministry, and so can you tell us the importance of succession, and what have you found in your studies and research on positive models for succession, and how important it is to start grooming the next leader and the next person that the Timothy that would take Paul's mantle?
Yeah, succession is key to leadership. I want to say, for those that may be listening, we've had a lot of humor, but this is something very serious and dear to my heart. You cannot be called an effective leader unless you have a succession plan. Your leadership is not really judged or based on what you do when you are in the seat. It's really based on what happens when you leave. Right. And so it's very important that every leader, and I'm so grateful for my father, Bishop McCoy, who taught us the importance about succession. And so my father, who's only 55, could have remained in the seat another 20, 25, 30 years or longer. He's healthy. He's not sick. He's not demented. He's a very strong man, but knew the importance of seasons. And I think it was the sons of Issachar who knew the signs of the time and what Israel ought to do. And so he had an Issachar anointing that knew that it was time to make a change, basically, in the church. And as it pertains to succession, something that he's taught us that I tried to model, and even something that was founded within the research, is that it's important that when you go into a thing, you already start looking for the exit. So I know when I assumed the role of the pastorate, some of the first conversations that I had with senior leadership was that I was not going to be here forever. And so we want to build systems that are just not personality driven. And so if I leave the seat, then the system leaves, or the system fails. It's very important that we build systems that are based on processes and not personalities. And so, and even within the senior leadership of the church, my father established that every senior leader had to find a junior leader, someone a little younger than them, that they would learn the ways of whatever that particular role was, so that at any times, if God was to decide that someone had to transition or someone's, moved or whatever, the church could be sustained through succession. And so succession is very, very important. And again, a true leader without a succession plan, in my estimation, is not a good leader at all. No, there's no gray area in that. If you do not have some type of succession plan, and it doesn't have to be like others. Again, the research would suggest that it's no cookie cutter approach. You must develop what is relevant for your context. And so, yeah, that's my advisement. Every leader needs some type of succession plan, and just not leaders. You always, no matter what position you find yourself in, you need to be looking at what is the next. How do I get to the next? Because God is not a stagnant God. He's ever evolving and growing us. He changes not, but he's always stretching us.
Right. So let me ask you this question then. For this is your first year that you're coming up on. I just completed my 6th year at Great New Macedonia. Is it important? Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Is it important for us and the stages in which we're in to have a succession plan, or is that something that we can kind of put off for later as we go further into our pastoral experience?
I think now is the time. People are dying younger, in my estimation, than they've ever died before. And I just don't want to talk about death as being a need for succession. Life changes, situations changes, you change. And so there needs to be a plan for the continuance, especially of the house of God. And sometimes I think people take the pastor as if they take it as it's theirs. And so when I die, it all dies. And whoever comes got to do what I did, got to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And I tell my family all the time, I do not plan to struggle like y'all struggled. It's called an inheritance. And a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children. And so I should never start lower than where my father started. I should never even start at the same place that my father started. True succession would suggest that I start at a higher place with more resources than those that went before me. And so I think people like you and I now need to start developing what does it look like in the next 10, 20 years, because ministry is changing, and you need to be very, very open to its change. So now is the time to develop those systems.
Okay. So how would you say we go about that?
First of all, it's you have to have honesty. Why are you in the position? Number one, it's because some people are in the pastorate for a check, and some people would leave right now, not because they feel it's time for them necessarily. They feel the God calling them to move. They're building a plan because they hear God to move. They're in the position because they need a paycheck. It's they need income. And so you really got to look at, why am I in the position? And when you figure that out, then you can start having some conversation. But I think the first place you start off is, why am I in the position, and what do I want out of the position? And a lot of times you have an opportunity, especially pastors, have a great opportunity to build systems that helps you when you leave. Hello, somebody. Right. You can build systems that you don't have to leave without anything. You can have a severance package or whatever your pack. You can develop those systems now.
Right.
But you have to start now. And so I think the first thing you want to do is, first of all, be honest with yourself. And if you have a spouse, talk to the spouse about what does it look like for the next 20 years. And then you want to have conversations with senior leadership. Now, depending on the temperament of your leadership and the structure, those conversations might be different, but you definitely want to start having conversations now about what does it look 15, 20 years from now? What does it look 10 years from now as it pertains to leadership?
Got it. Man, that's great stuff. That's good stuff. That's awesome. And so your thought process as far as in succession for clergy at our stage is focused more so on putting structures and systems in place instead of just finding somebody to take their place.
Absolutely. I think prayer is the key in that succession. Well, I think I'll go back to one of the first things I do is pray and seek the face of God, and then have those honest conversations with yourself and with your senior leadership. But yes, I think now it's about building the systems, because a good system can work with bad people.
That's good.
A good system can work with bad people. And so if you develop the proper systems, even though you might not have the necessary personnel that's key. You don't want to just stay with bad personnel, but develop the systems.
Mm-hmm.
And with the systems, you can start to build the necessary infrastructure and foundation to be able to really establish not only your place, but those that come behind you.
Right. Good, man. That's great. That's great, man. Well, thank you, sir, for your time. And so my question to you would be, what you got planned today for your birthday, man? What's the plans today?
Well, I'm a bivocational preacher. So after this, I have a conference call that I have to get on because I do work. And that's another thing. I told the church, y'all wasn't going to dictate what I drive and what I wear and how I go because of your money. I have I have my own money. And so I'm going to work after this. And then later we're going to get together with some friends who I'm able to touch. And we're going to go out. And I'm so sad that I can't spend my birthday with my best friend. And let me put this out here. I often say this, Jackson, because he's political. He doesn't say certain things. But I am Jackson's best friend. He's my best friend, but I am his best friend. And so I don't have my best friend. I don't have my best friend with me on today, or my nieces, or my sister, and so we're just going to get with the family and have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, if my daughters were dressed, they'll probably be down here and saying happy birthday to you too, because they love you tremendously. And yes, you are my best friend. I love you. Love you indefinitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh God! And I want to say I'm proud of you. On this, I don't know how many people are watching this feed, but I want to say I am so proud of the man he has become, to see his growth.
Happy birthday to
Is that my sister?
Yeah. Well, it's okay. Yeah.
Hey, baby.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm good.
I love you.
I have a green dress, and I'll send you back when I am.
Happy birthday, brother.
Thank you. Look at my family.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear mother.
Brother, happy birthday to you.
Oh, I love you all.
We love you too. We miss you.
I miss you all.
I need to look at the camera.
Oh, we miss you.
Yes, my baby is she knows. Look at the camera. That's right, baby.
Yes,
I
yes.
guess you will see better when you look at the camera.
We'll have some ice cream on your behalf.
Yes, very good. Well,
All
I
right.
love you all. Thank you. Thank you, Allison.
Say you're welcome. Say you're welcome.
Thank you. Mwah. My baby is she is not getting quiet.
She's just been eating blueberries.
Jeez, man.
She is.
That's okay. It's okay. Thank you. I'll give my kiss later.
Angelina,
Angie.
Yes,
I love you.
I love you too, buddy.
Oh, this is my.
I wish we can bake a birthday cake for
I
you.
know.
I wish we could bake a birthday cake for you now.
I know.
Birthday baking ice cream for you. So I really want. So Allison has a couple of mosquito bites on it.
Oh, mosquito. Who let mosquitoes in the house?
Okay, this is a professional conversation that we're having. This is a ministry conversation, and so we'll call you later and tell you about all the details of the mosquito bites. All right, and so this is not what
But
this.
I do want to say in closing how proud I am of my brother. I want to salute you, sir.
No, from outside in my and inside the pool from outside.
Give Daddy a kiss. Give Daddy a kiss and say happy. Congratulations, Daddy. Give Daddy a kiss and say congratulations.
Okay, so this time a red one.
What she said.
Okay, so thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Congratulations on your 8th edition, 8 at the number of resurrection. God is arising.
New beginnings.
New beginnings. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm so glad that we are friends. Friends.
Indeed. Indeed, man. For life, man.
Somebody said professionalism went out the door a few minutes ago.
Jeez. We were doing so well until
yeah.
Just,
don't do that to my babies.
Girls just messed it all up.
Oh, you didn't mess anything up, baby.
Yes.
You need to leg around the cap of the door, leg down.
Okay. All right. Thank you. This is my producer, and so she's got it straight. Okay.
Alrighty.
All right. Thank you, sir, and everybody. Once again, we say happy birthday to my best friend, my brother, my pal. And then we're gonna have to, the next time you're on, man, we're gonna have to talk about how we found out that we were biological brothers. And so we'll talk about that on the next time around. All right.
All right.
Love you, sir.
Thank you so much. Love you.
Say bye-bye, brother.
Bye.
Bye. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.